Councillor Cutler. Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler that the agenda be accepted as presented.
All in favor? Approved. Adoption of minutes from November 25th, 2024. Any questions, concerns, discussion? Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Ross. Question?
Moved by Councillor Ross that the regular meeting minutes of November 25th, 2024 be accepted as presented.
All in favor? Approved. Delegations.
Yeah, we have members of the Claresholm Public Library Board to do delegation, and then followed by a delegation from the Claresholm Child Care Society Board. So turn it over to you.
We're going to start with library. And then I'm the secretary for both, so I'm going to just do two birds one night.
I'm just here for moral support.
We
Yes.
appreciate the efficiency.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me do both tonight. Okay, we'll start with the library. Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Kelsey Hipkin. I don't like public speaking, but our board president volunteered me, so let's see how this goes. I grew up here in Claresholm and was a regular patron of the library when I was a kid. I was happy to move back and be able to introduce my kids to the same place. If you do have any questions, I will answer to the best of my ability or take them back to Jay because she knows everything. I just want to start with a quick quote. Libraries store the energy that fuels the imagination. They open up windows to the world and inspire us to explore and achieve and contribute to improving our quality of life. So we'll start with a bit of a history. A library in Claresholm was first suggested by a Mrs. Tom Riddle, no relation to Voldemort that we are aware of. The official opening was in the Old Legion in 1938. After that, it was located in the basement of the Old Town office. And then a new building, the one that I remember the most, was constructed and opened in 1978. The current location was made possible due to the Centennial Legacy Grant Program, and that one opened in 2004 in the location that it stands today. Here's a few numbers from 2023. We haven't done our 2024 report yet, but Jay said that they're going to probably be quite similar. The library was open more than 2,000 hours. 991 people had a library card. 26,000 people walked through the doors of the library. More than 47,000 items were checked out. There were more than 27,000 website visits. The meeting rooms were used more than 450 times, and staff answered almost 3,500 reference questions. So let's get into some of the interprovincial lending. The library is part of the Chinook Arch Library System, and that includes 33 member libraries in southern Alberta. Every week, the Claresholm Library sends out approximately 250 books to other libraries, and then they bring in another 100 books. They can also bring in books not in the system from libraries across the province, and that's with that Relays site. In 2023, they brought in 130 books and loaned out 232. So that just speaks to the broad kind of amount of books that we have that we can send more out than we bring in. Programming is a really big part of the library. It's a huge hub for the community, not only providing books, computer time, and copying, but through free programs including paint clubs, presentations, kids programming, workshops such as self-publishing, computer basics for seniors, and more. Just to elaborate on some of those programs, the armchair travel events are very popular. This year they included presentations from Vietnam, Hong Kong, and Normandy. Every year, and some of you might have been to this, the library puts together a Halloween-themed event. In 2023, the library won an award for their Harry Potter Halloween initiative, and this year they went with a Ghostbusters theme. These events are well received and offer the community a chance to get out with their kids and have some fun. Every year, the library celebrates a pink tea in honor of Alberta's famous five, including Claresholm resident Louise McKinney. In the photo, you can see Peggy Moore and longtime Claresholm librarian Kathy Davies of the Friends of the Library Society. The Friends of the Library was incorporated in 1988 and is a volunteer group that acts collectively and independently to preserve, promote, and strengthen library services in harmony with library management and policy. And The library regularly works with the community in showcasing local artists and their works. Just to elaborate a little bit on the Friends of the Library Society, these volunteers are also behind the library's Fair Days Parade float every year, providing ideas and money and support. And then they join the library staff and other volunteers to build the fort and do the float and do the parade itself. The library and kids. It has a huge collection of toys available for checkout, along with sporting equipment and other items such as a karaoke machine, telescope, Chromebooks, and even baking supplies. I think they even have paddle boats, so kind of if you name it, they can lend it to you. On Wednesdays, the library runs a free STEM class. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. This class is for ages 8 and up, and they work on a number of projects, including building your own race car. And just to elaborate on this a little bit more, the library consistently provides complimentary take and make crafts. Personally, my kids use these on the regular. It's something they look forward to once we get to the library. They're very well put together and easy for kids to craft with to keep them busy. And then for the kids over 18, there is an adult take and make jumping box birthday card. This year, the library will have given away approximately 2,000 of these kits. Patron donations. This machine here, it's an interactive sandbox, basically, for lack of a better word. The kids can play in the sand. They can choose tons of different scenarios to play with. This came from a former library patron and longtime volunteer, donated $1 million to the trust fund to the library 2 years ago, and he wanted the funds to go to something special. And this augmented reality sandbox has been super popular. My mom volunteers at the library on Tuesday and can vouch for how often it's being used. As a hub of the community, we also work with a lot of community groups. The Clear Lake Colony often donates items to the library, including hand sanitizer for patrons. And then twice this year, the library partnered with CARES. We did a cat cafe and then provided donations to CARES from our overdue fees. So that wraps up presentation number 1. I just want to take a moment to talk about how important Jay Sawatsky and her crew is to the library. We honestly couldn't do it without her. She's very passionate about the work she does and is an invaluable resource. As I mentioned, I'm happy to take questions. I don't know if I can answer it, but I can write it down. No problem. So thank you. And there's
Thank
our
you.
board president, Kendall Schill, in the house. That's it for that one.
Questions? Discussion?
I have one question.
Karen?
Come on.
Rod.
And this is just a notion.
Yeah.
Our town archives are with the museum. Is that right?
Correct.
But there's some of the library. Is there some cross-indexing, or like if somebody walks in the library and is looking for something and it lives over at the museum, is that something somebody's going to know, or should there be more or less? That's just something that struck me one day.
So we have had this scenario before that I think Jay does work very closely with the museum. And I know that they have shared specific information before. I don't know if it's as simple as you can pull up an Excel sheet at the museum and see what's at the library, but I'm happy to look into that one for you.
Okay, just something that struck
I
me.
do know that they collaborate on the regular.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you,
next.
Kels.
I am also the board secretary for the Claresholm Child Care Society, and that's what you get to learn about now. You've already met me. When my family and I moved back to Claresholm, Kim Gugala was one of the first calls I made to get our twins on the wait list for the daycare, and to be honest, we've been thrilled with them ever since. I want to thank Board President Jocelyn Leeds for joining me today. I will start with a little background. The Child Care Society, as you all well know, was located at the corner of 44th Ave and 2nd Street from 1988 to 2021 in the old town hall. Construction of our current location began in 2020, and we are there today. We'll start with the daycare. It is the philosophy of the Claresholm Child Care Society that children are unique individuals who deserve a warm, secure environment that promotes a sense of wonder and discovery and learning. I have twins, and as someone who's utilized the daycare, Jocelyn has as well, and my kids are now with Kids Zone, but I can vouch for the care and attention that staff pay not only to their children, but to the parents in communicating what's going on at the center. We are proud to have one of the few daycare centers that still serve meals during the day for all of the children. There are 2 snacks and lunch each day, with snack having a minimum of 2 food groups and lunches with all 4 food groups. There is a 5-week rotating menu to make sure that the kids have a variety of options. And a nice perk is my kids would only eat the pizza buns for like a week, so the daycare was handy to share that menu with us. As of our last board meeting, the daycare is at 44 kids. That is our current capacity based on the staff that we're able to have. And I do want to give a shout out to our executive director, Kim Gugala, who's been at the helm for many years. The board works very closely with Kim and know the daycare would not be half of the program it is without her. The same goes with Della Christman at the Kids Zone. And then last year, the board did approve a program supervisor role just to help support Kim, and Brittany Orslak has been crushing that. So just beside the daycare is the Kids Zone. This is the out-of-school or before and after-school care program, conveniently located across the parking lot from West Meadow. It allows children to be walked to and from the school each day. We do run a full-day program for kindergarten children on their opposite days of school. So my kids were Tuesday, Thursday, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they were at Kids Zone. It also runs a full-day program on school PD days and week-long breaks, which is a nice break for parents. Programs are planned on weekly and bi-weekly themes, but they are flexible to adapt to the children's individual interests. Staff members are responsible for planning and implementing activities that meet the age group's developmental needs. A really popular one in the summer for my kids was the kids would bring their bike and then go across to the track just to burn off some energy. Just delving into some of the other perks of what we offer, we do use an app for parents to check their kids in and out. It's a nice safety feature, but it's also nice to be able to message the staff at a whim. My kid is sick today. Did my kid leave her homework there? All that jazz. The daycare does hold a few events throughout the year. There is an art show and family barbecue in June. This is an opportunity for families to get to know each other and staff better. All the daycare kids create art that is sold in a silent auction, and a lot of parents like to get in on it and outbid each other, speaking from experience. The funds are used for covering the arts and craft supplies for the kids. We've also done a lemonade stand the last couple of years in partnership with the Play School to help raise money for the end of daycare party. This is a big hit with the kids and folks who stop by alike, as they are the ones who sell the lemonade. As well, the kids do visits to the Porcupine Hills Lodge to visit with and do crafts with local seniors. Fundraising is a big part of what we do. Our current board fundraiser director, Jana Cook, she does a great job of looking up grants and other fundraising opportunities for how we can raise money. One of our biggest lately has been the playground. We've got some gravel down, we got some fencing, we got a new play structure. The final part of our wish list is a gazebo just for some shade, because it can get pretty toasty there on the summer days. And then we do try to keep our fundraisers different from other groups to try and prevent repeats, because I know a lot of the local groups are often doing fundraisers for different things. A nice thing about the summer programming is that the kids do get to go on a lot of field trips, and we do have help from community events like community groups like the Canets for this. For example, last year they got to go to the Calgary Farmyard, the Bar U, and then they've done some activities in Lethbridge as well. And that's the end of that one. Any questions?
Questions? Just Counselor Cutler.
Michael?
Easy. You mentioned you have 44 kids now. That's your max with
That's our
the
max for
staffing.
staff, yeah.
What is the max for that building? Do we know that?
Yeah, I think it's 52 or 57. But we cannot get to our max because of staffing issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just been to a couple meetings, heard we're full capacity, but you're at full capacity with staffing.
With staffing.
If you had another staff member, you could add 6 more kids type of thing or whatever, right? Or whatever it
Depending
is.
on their level.
Yeah. But right now, but you still have room for more kids in that building if you had the staff.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, that's,
Yeah. Not how it is for the Kids Zone, though. So the before school and after school program is at full capacity, even with the staff we have. That building cannot handle any more kids. So for the school division that thinks we should go to a 4-day school week, we don't have space for those kids on Fridays. So even though they lay it out on their website that we are a program as a licensed for before school and after school kids for the ages 6 to 12, there's no space. So they can put it on their website all they want, but you come knocking on our door, we don't have space for your kids. So, which opens a whole can of worms for parents that don't have childcare.
Need that care.
Yeah.
Questions? Counselor Carlson.
Not really a question, but a thank you. We put both of our kids through the system, sat on the board for a while as well. The programming and the dedication that those staff have had is amazing, and I've got nothing but respect for them. So
Yeah, me too.
pass that along. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome back to the board, Keith.
What's that?
You're welcome to come back to the board.
Give me 6 months and make something happen. I saw the ad, I almost applied. I'll get my level 3.
There,
Perfect.
that'll up that capacity.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well done.
That's all Kelsey, I'm super low.
Can you try mine again? And try it real quick, just in case.
And you can free us, right?
I messed with my display settings a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless you want to stick around and listen.
You're welcome to stay. Stay.
Change of Claresholm that we're going to make tonight.
Nope.
You'll be
Okay.
the first to know.
I'd love to stay, but.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. A little frustrating
I'll
though.
try
Try to keep up. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Action items, 5.A, bylaw, 5.A.1. Abe?
So this is bylaw 1795, which is a nomination deposit requirement bylaw, and this was following a conversation that administration had with council at the last meeting where we reviewed some of the options that council could exercise for the upcoming election in 2025. One of those options was requiring a nomination deposit to accompany nomination papers, and so we have prepared that bylaw for you. According to this bylaw, all nomination papers for the next municipal election must be accompanied by a $100 deposit. The candidates will receive the deposit back if they are declared elected. If the candidate obtains at least half the number of votes, then the candidate elected to office with the least number of votes, or if the candidate withdraws at any time within the nomination period or within 24 hours after the close of the nomination period. If the candidate does not meet the above criteria, the deposit shall be paid into the general revenue of the municipality. So that bylaw is on the agenda for all 3 readings because this option has to be exercised by bylaw prior to December 31st, and this is council's last meeting of the year.
Questions? Discussion? Motion? Counselor Cutler. What's the motion?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to give bylaw number 1795, the nomination deposit requirements bylaw, first reading.
All in favor? Second reading. Motion? Counselor Meister. Question?
Moved by Councillor Meister to give bylaw number 1795, the nomination deposit requirements bylaw, second reading.
All in favor? Approved. Motion to give unanimous assent. Counselor Zimmer. Question?
Moved by Counselor Zimmer for unanimous consent to give bylaw number 1795, the nomination deposit requirements bylaw, third and final reading at the same meeting.
All in favor? Approved. Third motion? Counselor Kettles. Question?
Moved by Counselor Kettles, give bylaw number 1795, the nomination deposit requirements bylaw, third and final reading.
All in favor? Approved. Okay. 5.8.2, bylaw 1796. Abe?
Yeah, that works great. So this is bylaw 1796, which is the subdivision and development authority bylaw. MPC has been reviewing this bylaw last couple of meetings. It is primarily a housekeeping bylaw, tidying up, making some things more clear. The last bylaw was passed in 2009, and so there have been a few legislative changes. And so few extra definitions, clarified the development authority duties regarding variance powers that have been changed in the land use bylaw, clarifying the functions and duties of the subdivision authority powers and functions, and the MPC composition as well. The previous bylaw stated that member of administration could be on the MPC. We are suggesting to remove that. We don't think it's appropriate to have a member of administration on the MPC decision-making board, so removing that as an option. I'll review the bylaw real quick, Council, and just try to answer any questions that you might have. But by and large, there are three main parts of the bylaw. Setting up establishing the development authority is the first part, establishing the subdivision authority, the second part, and the functions and duties thereof, and also the municipal planning commission. And so those are the three main parts of the bylaw. So some of the wording, for example, that's cleared up here is the previous bylaw didn't state that the bylaw was what established the development authority. It talked about the development authority, but it didn't explicitly state that the bylaw is what is establishing the development authority. So that is one of the clarifications that we have in here. And of course, the development authority for the municipality is the development officer, the municipal planning commission, and the chief administrative officer and council, as defined by the land use bylaw. So a number of procedures and rules for the development authority are laid out as well. Appointment of the development officer. Council may by resolution appoint the designated officer as a development officer. Powers and duties of development officer shall be outlined in the town of Claresholm land use bylaw. And again, as I said, the subdivision authority is established as well. That is the MPC, the Municipal Planning Commission. That is established through this bylaw as well. And functions of duty of the MPC are laid out. Additionally, we see the Municipal Planning Commission function and duties. There are some procedural items in there as well. One of those procedural items being removing the opportunity for a staff member to be on the MPC committee. Another change in here is limiting someone from the subdivision, limiting someone from the subdivision and development appeal board from also being on the MPC. That would be a conflict. Being on the decision-making board for the MPC and then being on the appeal board as well. So that's one of the other changes that's made in this, suggested in this bylaw.
Questions? Discussion? Can I have a motion to accept this bylaw, please? Councillor Carlson, question?
Moved by Counselor Carlson to give bylaw number 1796, the subdivision and development authority bylaw, first reading.
All in favor? Approved. Other government correspondence. Opportunity to serve on the AMSC board, Alberta municipalities. Abe?
So there are some vacancies on the Alberta Municipalities AMSC Board of Directors, and this is just some correspondence to councils and CAOs who are in the broad membership that they are recruiting for positions. If you have an interest in being on that board, the Municipal Services AMSC Board, you can submit an application, resume, etc. But Alberta Muni's AMSC provides a number of services to municipalities. So property and casualty insurance, pension and savings plans, employee benefits services, utilities, short-term investment options. So there's a number of different business units in their portfolio. And as a member of the board of directors, you'd be able to provide some direction and oversight and decision-making potentially to that board. Instructions there on how to apply if you're interested, and we can help you out with that too if anybody's interested.
Anyone interested? Okay, we'll take that for information. Request for decision, 5.C.1, 2025 interim budget. Abe?
Yeah, so our Director of Corporate Services, Jennifer Place, is here to discuss the 2025 interim budget with you, Council.
Thank you. So administration has prepared a draft operating and capital budget for 2025 after working with all of the department managers and meeting with the Facility and Infrastructure Planning, or FIPC committee, as well as the Audit and Finance committee. So the FIPC committee has recommended the 2025 capital budget for council approval, and the Audit and Finance committee has recommended the 2025 interim operating budget for approval. So as council is aware, the Municipal Government Act does state that a budget or an interim budget must be passed prior to January 1 in order to make expenditures in the new year. So the 2025 budget decisions will continue into the new year as we receive additional information from the province on requisitions and other organizations, revenues, grant opportunities that might be there, and we'll have a more firm funding notifications. And we anticipate that the 2025 final budget will be brought forward and passed in April. So included was the document, as I had mentioned, with regards to the operating and capital budget. So the 2025 interim budget does include an anticipated 6.045% increase. Much of this increase is due to changes in net salaries and benefits and the phase out of the SLIP grant, which ends in March of 2025. And the addition of a new transfer to capital reserves for recreation facilities in the amount of $50,000, which accounts for about just under 1.3% of the overall increase. Council's implemented the reserve transfer following the 2024 Recreation and Cultural Facilities Survey. So within that survey, Council had proposed the addition of a reserve transfer in the amount of $360,000, which would have been approximately a 10% increase to taxes. But upon review of the survey results, the decision was made to move forward through the Audit and Finance Committee on implementing a recreation transfer, but in a lower amount, which was the $50,000, in order to ensure manageability and consistency of tax increases. So following that, there's some summaries with regards to the operating revenues and expenditures by object, which you can see there. And another page I've included below, which I think is page 6 of the document. And this just shows a bit of an impact, the highlights of the increases and efficiencies and savings that have been implemented as part of the 2025 interim budget. So overall, the 6.045% increase is $234,636, with $50,000 of that, as I mentioned, being specifically for the transfer to reserves for the recreation. There's other items in there. I think, as mentioned, the loss of the grant funding has had a bit of an impact to the overall budget, and that is a one-time, I guess, in this case. Moving forward, if this grant is available again, we will look at different sort of ways of allocating the budget, so we're not seeing that kind of hit in the future. And there's about $187,834 in efficiencies and cost savings that were recognized as part of this budget, which helped bring the overall increase, which would have been significantly higher, down to that $236,000 and change. I don't know if council wants me to go through the details. I know you've seen it as part of audit and finance, and the document is here. Also included, again, is the capital summary. So that is down on page, if we go to page 18, I put together a summary similar to what the Finance and Audit Committee saw, and just maybe a bit of a cleaner summary that shows the capital project types, the total project cost, and what funding sources are going to be put to that project. So the total capital that's proposed right now is $3,727,705. So I would be happy to take any questions if council has some.
This is what goes on the website after we pass it, right? Like public has access to all these charts and everything else as well, right?
Yeah, we can put it up there.
Right.
For some proximity.
Yeah, for sure. Any other discussion, questions? Councillor Kettles?
I'd like to thank administration and various departments of the town for going through this. This is a summary, and not all the folks get a chance to look at how this all comes together, and it's a lot of work, and I think the committee looked at all of the departments, and I don't know as anybody's particularly happy that we are looking at a 6% budgeted increase, but I think it strikes a balance between good management of the town. I think it reflects still a little bit of provincial downloading onto us. With loss of grants, if nothing else, but I think it's a budget that strikes a balance between good management, and we didn't come to it lightly, so I don't want it to appear that this is quick and dirty. This took some time.
Thank you. Any other discussion, questions? Could I get a motion to accept the interim budget, please? Councillor Ross. Question.
So it's actually two motions, one for operations and one for capital.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor Ross to approve the interim 2024 operational budget as presented.
All in favor? Approved. Motion to accept the capital budget. Councillor Meister. Question.
And actually, that motion didn't read correct. It's interim 2025 operational budget, not 2024. So that last motion should have read, moved by Councillor Ross to approve the interim 2025 operational budget as presented. I think that was probably me. Moved by Councillor Meister to approve the 2025 capital budget as presented.
All in favor? Approved. Moving on, 5.C.2. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Abe?
So the recreation department is looking for council, the town, to promote free swim. The town previously supported public swims and did for several years down at the pool. But it looks like back in the COVID, things got interrupted. But usually the town supported 24 hours a year, 26 hours a year of free swimming. The free swim is now back on, and there are sponsors for free swims this year. Claresholm XSS has sponsored Sunday free swims from July to the shutdown, and the Kinsman Club has sponsored free swims for Saturdays from October to November 12th, six swims in total. For 2025, there will be 45 swims sponsored. That is by the Kinsman, the Connect Club, the FCSS, and Stable Elks. And those will run from January until the shutdown in the fall, November, usually happens in November. There are a couple Saturday swims in 2024 and 2025 that are still looking for sponsors. And Recreation would like the town to once again start sponsoring the public swims, requesting for two sponsors in 2024. Saturday swims from 2 to 4 p.m. That's December 21st and December 28th. And then in 2025, December 20th and December 27th from 2 to 4 p.m. And so just looking for conversation and possibly motion from council to approve those sponsorship for those swims, those free swims.
Discussion? Questions? Councillor Carlson.
I think it's a good thing. I'd be more than willing to make that motion if no one objects.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to sponsor December 21st and December 28th, 2024 Saturday public swims from 2 till 4 p.m.
All in favor? Approved. Could I have a motion to sponsor December 20th, 2025 to December 27th, 2025 for a free public swim? Councillor Cutler, question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to sponsor December 20th, 2025 and December 27th, 2025 Saturday public swims from 2 till 4 p.m.
All in favor? Approved. Request for decision. Town operations, Christmas Eve. April.
Traditionally, the town has closed its office hours on Christmas Eve when Christmas Eve falls on a weekday and closes at noon. And traditionally, council has approved that. We do need approval from council to do that. So that's what we're asking for.
Questions, discussion? Councillor Ross made that. Do you have a question, Councillor Carlson?
No question.
Councillor Ross made that motion. Question?
Moved by Councillor Ross to discontinue town operations at 12 noon on Tuesday, December 24th, 2024, in the spirit of the season, and to allow staff to be with their families and loved ones.
All in favor? Approved. 5.C.4, Policy 5.3.15. Abe?
So bylaw department is working on updating some policies. This one is the surveillance camera policy, surveillance policy. Just looking for some minor updates to the policy. And I'll go over the updates and then maybe review a little bit some of the important parts of the policy. Just find my bearings here. Sorry. So, yeah, one thing that's no longer required is identifying what specific sites we're having, we'll set up surveillance cameras at, so that is one of the primary changes we're proposing to make. It's just generic policy that will cover wherever we happen to put up security cameras, and essentially we have to have some signage as well, which previously we didn't have. So that's the primary change that we're looking at here. But the surveillance policy rather, does govern how we use surveillance footage. It is public information, and as a public institution, we have information on people when we have recorded information on people and members of the public, and we have a responsibility under FOIA to protect their privacy. And so the only times we're allowed to actually release that footage would be to either assist with an investigation if a crime has been committed or suspected crime has been committed, and at the request of the authorities, the police, or maybe internally for investigations. It's not that kind of information, surveillance information. We're not allowed to share it with the public, and we have a duty to protect the responsibility. And so the policy generally lays out how we're supposed to process for recording, how to put the cameras up, requirement to install again signage where people are supposed to be informed that they are being recorded, and processes again for the police to request information and how we're to declare that. Again, just some minor housekeeping proposing. Let's see if there are any questions from council.
Questions, concerns? Seeing none, could I have a motion, please? Councilor Meister? Question?
Moved by Councillor Meister to adopt policy number 5.3.15, the surveillance camera policy as presented, effective December 9th, 2024.
All in favor? Approved. Moving on, 5.C.5 municipal election motions. Abe?
So we are looking for several motions related to the municipal election. Some election direction that we received from the council is via bylaw, and some of it is via motion. The ones we have here for you now they're going to be passed by motion. So because the election period opens January 1st, 2025, that means anybody can come down and drop off nomination papers. So we need to have designated returning officer and substitute returning officers, so we can be prepared administratively to receive nominations. Before we accept nominations, we actually have to take oath as election officials to abide by the MGA and the Local Authorities Election Act, and to be good, basically swearing in to be election officials. And so this is getting everything in motion and appointing. We're suggesting to appoint Corinne Keys as the returning officer. She's done several elections, knows the process very well, and so she is the best candidate internally to do that. I'm also looking to get motions to appoint myself, Jennifer Place, who is the Director of Corporate Services, and Tracy Stewart as substitute returning officers. So any one of us, there'll be 4 of us here that can actually receive nomination papers at the office. And we're also looking for a motion for institutional votes on election day. Sorry, not on election day, but on, is it election day? No, that is election day. Institutional votes at the General Hospital, Willow Creek Continuing Care, Porcupine Hills Lodge, Cottonwood Village, Heritage Manor, and Parkside Manager. And historically, those are the locations that we hold the institutional vote. Basically, we have election officials bring the vote to these institutions. So, questions on any of those?
Could I have a motion to appoint Corinne Keys as a returning officer? Counselor Ross. Question?
Moved by Counselor Ross to appoint Corinne Keys as the returning officer for the 2025 election.
All in favor? Approved. Could I have a motion to appoint Abe Tinney, Jennifer Place, and Tracy Stewart as substitute returning officers for the 2025 election?
I'll make that motion.
Counselor Zimmer. Question?
Moved by Counselor Zimmer to appoint Abe Tinney, Jennifer Place, and Tracy Stewart as substitute returning officers for the 2025 election.
All in favor? Approved. Could I have a motion to hold an institutional vote for the election on Monday, October 20th, 2025? Counselor Cutler? Question?
Moved by Counselor Cutler to hold an institutional vote for the election on Monday, October 20th, 2025 at the Claresholm General Hospital, Willow Creek Continuing Care Center, Porcupine Hills Lodge, Cottonwood Village, and Heritage Manor and Parkside Manor.
All in favor? Approved. Counselor Committee Report. Would anybody like to add anything? Take that for information. Council resolution status. Any questions? Take that for information. Number 6, information items. Municipal Planning Commission meeting minutes, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Claresholm Library Board meeting minutes, Stars Horizons. Any questions? Discussion? Motion to accept the information items.
I'll make a motion to accept the information items as presented.
Councilor Zimmer, question.
Moved by Counselor Zimmer to adopt the information items as presented.
All in favor? Approved. 6.E, Childcare Now Alberta and Red Deer Polytechnique information items. Can I have a motion to go in camera, please? Question?
Moved by Counselor Ross to go in camera at 7:49 PM for the following items. A, confidential evaluations, FOIP Section 19. B, advice from officials, FOIP Section 24.
All in favor?